Yeah,
Yes,
it's
wake
time.
up. This is not a drill.
Not a drill.
No, this is the real deal. This is all the things that we said we're saving up money for. We're putting our canned foods in storage for. All of those things. We're there.
Yeah, all that. Remember the Y2 preparation and
Oh
all
my
that
gosh.
stuff. You know,
Yes.
buying water and all that, and the doomsday preppers.
Yes. Well,
Yeah,
they are on cloud nine right now because they were ready.
they were ready. They bought all the toilet paper and all the paper products and hand sanitizer and MREs and all that stuff. They ready.
All of that. Yes, they are ready. So we know what we're going to talk about today is we're really going to be just kind of looking at our response to coronavirus, like what's going on, what's really going on. We've got all kinds of conspiracy theories going on, and
Yeah.
some may sound more realistic and reasonable than others. We've got all kinds of things that are going on that we just really need to just
Yeah,
address.
it's a lot happening, and we need to step back and let's regroup here and let's get ready to go forward
Yeah, I
because
mean,
right now it seems like we're going backwards.
going backwards, going buck wild. I mean,
Yeah.
the White House is going buck wild. The governors, everybody, let's open the beaches
Right.
and stuff is still going on. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
So
it's almost anarchy. Is it's like come on now.
that's a good word. Right, right. And anarchy, not of the people, anarchy
No,
of like the leaders.
the leaders. Yeah.
It's like all around. So yeah, so we've got some really great things to kind of cover today, and great in the sense that hopefully this will help with how you are dealing with the virus and with the quarantine, and
Yeah.
whether or not you are working in a more dangerous capacity or where you're working at home, depending. Everybody's
Hmm.
situation is different. So
Oh
we're
yeah.
going to be looking at all that today. So stay with us. We've got, our trending topics is going to be a hodgepodge of topics because there is just not one thing that
It's
we
too
can talk
much. It's
about.
too much
Yeah,
to narrow down. Yeah.
it's too much. So the trending topics could have been the whole show.
Absolutely.
So stay with us, and we'll be right back.
We'll be back.
This is America. I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. Probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay to put some gum in my mouth. Step out of the car, please. I
Hear us
probably
during the break?
made a mistake.
Probably okay
goodness.
isn't okay when it
Can they
comes to
hear us?
driving.
Yeah, well,
Warning signs
no,
and
so
have a car
you guys
or
are down. I have
driving
the
is drunk
aux
driving. The
popped
message
out.
brought to you by NHTSA and the app.
Okay, got it.
Okay, where was that last?
So they don't
Yeah.
hear us right now.
No, but we're still online.
Not saving
Oh,
Okay.
we are. Yeah. Okay. Only because the countdown was a little off for me, and I just talked before it counted all the way down.
Yeah, the beginning is usually, what do you call it? We just kind of like do a quick, what you call it, recap of it, not recap,
No. What I'm saying is, when it was counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Uh-huh.
it already said this is America, and it was like 5, 4, and it would have been a long gap if I hadn't just started talking. So I was just showing you it was off.
Okay.
It's like a delay, I think.
Oh, no.
Bus driver.
Make sure.
The message brought to you by NHTSA and the app.
Tell you just like your mama tell you. But don't take no. Time to smarten up and listen now. The radio that's not dumbed down. Good morning, Uglyville. We ugly dolls.
It's not good in here.
Which is not his name.
We try this too.
That's better.
That's why when you try it, you should make sure your child is for their age and size. That sounds really like to me. Keep them safe. Visit NHTSA.gov.
So, like, y'all, I don't know, because I've noticed that we haven't been, like, reporting, like, well, we'll report the deaths, like, and everything of that sort, but they started, like, pausing on a little bit of, like, putting out information on, like, the new cases. And then it was like the states that weren't complying, then they'll bring back up like, oh, but there's all these new cases. So it's just like I think we should probably continue with what we were doing so we understand like the severity of it, because it's like when we're reporting the deaths, it looks like okay, well, that means nobody else is catching it, and I feel like that's what probably like sparked this confusion because all we see is like people that already had it, and those either recovering or they're dying from it. So.
Right. There's like no, it doesn't feel current, the updates. I don't know. We just have numbers, but
Yeah,
where are those numbers happening?
right.
One of the biggest disappointments in my life next year. I mean, Indianapolis get to the playoffs, but get knocked out. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone's staying closer and everyone. And I did wonder why didn't they come out the way I thought it would. But I determined that I had to have Christ first. But everything else came below that, including our own desires. The next year, that ended
Okay.
up being our year to go to the Super Bowl.
So coming in, since we basically already brought it up, we're gonna just go straight into trending topics. Right.
Jesus Christ, and He got us to that ultimate victory.
Oops.
So, and text and eat.
You still chewing on your chips?
Text and
Egg rolls.
Egg rolls, man. Oh, you done stepped your game up. Egg rolls.
I forgot my soy sauce, but I'm resisting to go get it. I'm just gonna stay put.
You know what's actually really good with egg rolls? Yum yum sauce. Yum yum sauce is really good.
That would be good.
text and complain that they're on
Okay, what is yum yum sauce?
text and listen to them complain that you're
Kind of like a sweet.
Yum sauce. I actually made some for like the every plate that
when you get behind the
we were
What
getting.
is it?
passenger, put it in the glove box.
It's like this like
Don't
spice
text and drive.
like sauce.
Visit Stop
Oh,
Text.
no, thank you.
Oh, you don't like spice?
Brought to you by the
Don't sound good.
and the address.
Coming back in, I would say probably 20 minutes, 20 seconds, sorry.
It's like I'm gonna go eat dinner then.
20 minutes.
All right, no. Coming back in like 20 seconds.
We have the answers. ATM.com and click on the contact tab as much as you like.
Okay.
Okay.
I see the viewers growing. Hey viewers.
All right, coming into trending topics.
All right. All right. So trending is so many things. So from government behavior to
Yeah.
laws changing people behavior to, so let me just start with and I think Robert, we talked about this this week with Pensacola
Yes.
and the Block
Oh.
Pride. Yeah,
Mhm.
Block Party. Easter Block Party. Like
Yeah.
huge crowd.
Hundreds
Go
of
ahead.
people.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people out block party. When I say block party, it's a good old fashioned block party barbecue in the
Mhm.
midst of this stay at home. Children out there, it was
Yeah. No masks really. Just
no mask. Yeah. Free for
yeah.
all.
Right. And it's funny because I see it as, you know, because we can't do this, we're going to do this. Because I bet you any other Easter, they're not.
Wouldn't have done none of that. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but you had a really good point when we were kind of talking offline about this, just kind of about people who, you know, when you are dealing with like death and you don't even know you're going to live.
Yeah. And I was saying,
I love that.
yeah, it really hit me because, you know, at first I'm like, wow, I'm angry and all that. But then I had to take a step back and say, okay, when you're living already in a hopeless situation,
Mhm.
what does coronavirus mean to you when you don't even believe you're going to live past 21 or 19 or
Yeah.
18? And so, you know, I'm going to live my life today and I'm just going to do my thing. And then they're living in a community that was clearly impoverished. And, you know, I mean, it was a lower income neighborhood. You can tell that just by looking. That's not even judging.
Right.
And so, you know, what do they even get? You know, they don't get services, they don't get resources. And so they're like, well, why should I even adhere to the authorities when they do nothing for me that's good? Everything that I get from them is bad. From food, if I even have a grocery store in the neighborhood, because most of those are food deserts.
Yeah.
And so when you have a level of hopelessness, you do things, you know, you ain't got nothing to live for, so why
You live
go?
on that frequency. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I you know, I try not to be judgmental. Of course, when I first saw the video, I'm like, and everybody on there is commenting like, what are y'all doing? This is the problem, blah, 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 blah. And so I appreciate your perspective on that, because it's really easy, for me, from my perspective, definitely with some elements of privilege that I have to say, no, I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that? That's crazy for somebody to do that. But I don't know the mindset, I don't.
Yeah. In many of our neighborhoods, you leave out the door not knowing if you're going to come home anyway.
Yeah.
And so that's their mindset. And so what does it mean? Coronavirus, man, I'm surviving in the hood. You know what I mean? And so that's a lot of mentality. Unfortunately, it's reckless because it affects all of us. And,
it does.
And
because you're not going to stay on your block.
Absolutely. You're going to go to the grocery store because you got to go get the liquor to go. You know what I mean? You got to go get food. We all got to eat. And so there's some common places that we're going to come to, and that's where it gets dangerous.
It impacts everybody.
Absolutely.
Well, and if you're not concerned about your own survival, why would you be concerned about anybody else's survival?
Absolutely.
So I don't know exactly how to address this without sounding judgmental, because and I don't know, maybe there's some level of judgment that's warranted. I don't know, but I don't,
Yeah, but but this is the position I've been taking. And I said this yesterday. It's real. This coronavirus is really highlighting America's social ills on so many levels.
Yeah.
Economically, we're seeing the impacts. Of how poor people, we're going to take the blunt. And I say poor people, and I said we, because I'm not in the 1%. We're always going to get the bottom of the barrel. We're going to take the brunt of everything. And so this is just highlighting all the social ills, from healthcare to economics, to poverty, to schooling. We can go on for days about, how this has been affected. And, and then, I said this, and then I'll cut it off here. I almost get the young people now. I get young folk, we failed y'all. I get you feel like we failed you. But live so we can get it right.
Yeah, right, because you don't want us to be the ones in charge later.
Live so you can get it right. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
We did you bad. We didn't have it set up right. We didn't do it right. Okay, when I say we, the establishment, the older folk, but live so you can get it right for your babies when they come up. They can have a better world. But don't check out now. Don't
check out. And that's the thing is how do we keep people from checking out, It's interesting because we see, I'm going to call it rebellion, but we see this kind of rebellion happening in many different kinds of communities. So we have what we saw in Pensacola, but we also have what we saw in Michigan and all of the conservative groups that are protesting, saying they want to be liberated because they don't want to have to be at home.
Absolutely. And also in New York City, the Hasidic Jews, I've seen several videos where they're outpouring. They're not listening during the Passover season. It was, crushed together out in the streets because they're not listening.
Yeah.
And so it's not just African Americans doing this. It's the masses. But again, I believe it's just showing America how much in trouble we have been and are in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you go to the Florida beaches are now open. And so, that's the beaches were packed. And of course, there's a whole cross section of people from different backgrounds and races and economic statuses. And so, it's an interesting phenomenon to me that people are like, whatever.
Yeah. And everyone gets to make their decisions. You get to roll the dice for your own life. But unfortunately, this does not just impact you.
It does not just impact you. Right.
and the selfishness, that's just so disheartening to me. The selfishness I'm seeing, across the board.
Well, we've got a lot more to cover. So we'd love to hear your comments. So definitely leave us a comment on our Facebook Live and in some Sensation Station Network, and we'll acknowledge it. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Emilio.
Guess whose computer is about to die? I'll be right back.
Wait, what was that? Oh.
I think she left her charger for her computer.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's just like, are we like, is it like, are we at the part where like it gets worse before it gets better, or are we like, are we
Yeah,
moving across the march? And it's just like, it's just so much standstill that
yeah,
you don't really know, are we progressing or are we progressing? You know, and that's like the confusing part for me.
yeah.
Like,
We don't know, and I've this week I had to just unplug. I haven't watched news all week really. Only time I get news is the alerts on CNN. I just can't sit and watch the news no more. I got to get it in pieces. Just give me the highlights, and I'll pick what I want to read, and that's it.
yeah, it, at this point, it's just like I'm just doing like honestly. At some point, I kind of forget that we're like in the pandemic. This is becoming like my norm now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like staying in my house,
Yeah,
where I need to go, and that's it. Like, you know,
yeah. I stay home. It's almost I'm becoming. I got to get out the house. I'm not cabin fever, but I'm becoming too comfortable at home.
Ooh, I know what you mean by that.
you're a natural antisocial, huh? Like, this is becoming your safe haven.
Yeah, this is becoming a vibe for me.
Oh,
Ooh,
no.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
I got some friends like that. It's just like, oh wow,
And so, like, especially once I realized that getting the groceries delivered actually works well for me, like, it's going to be hard to get me out the house now
see,
in social settings.
that's the thing though. That's the thing for me. It's like I don't know how long I could be in the house because I kind of enjoy going to the store because sometimes like I'll make my little grocery list, but sometimes I'll see something in the store and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta get that. You know,
Mm.
like oh
That's why. That's
That's
why the
why,
delivery is good.
yeah, that's why it's good. I've saved so much money during this because I don't spend on miscellaneous things,
yeah, getting what
you
you
know.
need basically. I
And so
mean,
I've been able to use the money I've saved to do some investments, some investing and, try to position.
oh yeah,
Not a
even
lot of money, but all the little $20 I would have eaten lunch, go something like that. Now I just throw it in my investment account.
yeah. When we
Very
we
smart.
come back in, we're gonna like do like finish our conversation and I can lead you into trending topics or
Yeah. Wait, say that again.
we
Can
just
we
want to
just do
finish our
trending topics?
conversation.
Yeah, we have more, but we can
We can finish our conversation.
just
Coming
kind of
back in
keep the
like
conversation going.
15
Okay.
seconds. We can finish our conversation.
Okay.
All right.
Dang. Forgot to turn TD down. He is going off.
Hmm.
Oh. Are we back? Oh, we're back. All right. Welcome back to the live exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela.
I'm Robert Pierce.
And we are trying to give you all a wake-up call. Let's wake up.
Yeah, wake
Yes.
up.
Wake up. This is not a drill.
It's not
This
a
is the
drill.
real deal.
This real life right here.
It is. And
Real
it's
people
so
are
funny
dying.
because when we're talking about, things that have happened in the past, I don't know that I've ever had a conversation about a pandemic, but emergency situations, when people were going into bunkers because of the Red Scare, they were afraid of
Yeah.
getting, bombed by nuclear, and we're preparing. And here we are. We've been preparing for a terrorist attack for the last 20 years.
Right. Since 9/11.
And now we got this,
Yeah.
and I don't know that we're dealing with it very well at all.
No,
as a
it's
society.
dealing with us. We're not dealing well. It's dealing with us.
Right.
And unfortunately, we need better leadership, and so
Yes.
we have to prepare to change our leadership as elections are coming.
Right.
If
right.
not, this can only get worse. Whenever this subsides, it doesn't eradicate the virus. It's still going to be
No.
around, and people are still going to contract it,
Yeah.
even when the numbers go down. And so, we have to now put in place some things that we can do better for each other.
I mean, if we could just hang in there and just
Yeah.
do this quarantine thing, like if everybody had just done it for like 2 or 3 weeks
We would have been
at
done.
one time, it would have been done. Because the thing is, the point is not just the virus alone, but it's also the hospitals being overcrowded and impacted.
Impacted, right?
So if we can just slow it down and people are still getting it, at least they can be treated.
Yeah.
And there's ventilators, there's whatever is needed is available. But when it's impacted the way it is now, that's the biggest problem.
Right.
Is is not being able to adequately help people.
Yeah,
Who are,
and they don't have enough, like you said, the ventilators and all that. So who gets them? If who gets the last one?
It's a gamble.
Yeah,
Right.
you rolling the dice, and so it's so
is,
much. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is, everybody's not going to have to be in the hospital. So as you said, people are still going to be diagnosed with it, and some people will heal from home and so forth. But if everybody's getting it all at once, then it's just a lot.
Yeah, and I have somebody on my live says that we have to develop new norms, and that's right, new social norms. We gotta develop them all.
Permanently. We may not like it, but permanently. I mean, look, when 9/11 happened, before 9/11 happened, we never thought of the differences that would be put in place for flying.
Right, and that was a major hassle when it first started. But now it's a norm. You go to the airport, throw your water away. You get rid of your liquid. You just know you got to do it.
Put on some socks with no holes in them.
Right.
Yeah,
and so we gotta. That's what we're gonna have to do going forward when we come out of this. What those norms are going to be, we don't know, but I believe masks are going to be in play now more often than.
Well, what's happening is there are new waves of the virus that are coming up in China, and I as long as they waited, I think they had maybe 2 or 3 months in quarantine and hardcore quarantine, like, and now everybody's back out and they're seeing the rates surge again. And, and to your point, yes, people are still going to get it. And hopefully it doesn't pick up the way it did before in their country where the hospitals are impacted. But, and actually they had hospital. I mean, they actually were well prepared for that.
They built 2 hospitals in 1 week.
Yeah. So they were good in that sense. But if we see that happening there, we better not do again what we did last time in January and say, that's just them, whatever. Yeah. I mean, here we are opening beaches when we're still at the peak. Right. So it's just,
and we're opening stuff instead of closing more things.
Right.
It's amazing what I hear is essential businesses now.
Oh my gosh. Okay, go ahead.
That's not really essential. Let's close that down. You know what I mean? And I don't want to. I get. We want the economy to flow, but again, that's another one of our social ills. We're so predicated on money in this country. That we got to keep the money ball rolling. If we need to sit down for 2 weeks, that's major. Come on, y'all, let's go.
Yeah. It's interesting. One of the points that I wanted to bring up about the conservatives who are protesting about liberating them from being protected. There was a conversation with one of my Facebook friends where they were criticizing. They were saying this is not like Black Lives Matter, because she was saying it's amazing that they're not being met with hard, forceful weaponry and the National Guard, and they're saying, well, this isn't like Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter was violent, but they aren't. And so it's so interesting how that dynamic. It's okay to protest if you don't want to have to stay in for the coronavirus, but those people over there are trying to protest to stay alive just on the streets. No, that's different. That's different.
Yeah. Well, the perspectives is always going to fit your agenda,
of course.
And so it doesn't even surprise me, and so I kind of expected that. I expected the racism to be poured out. I expected poverty to be to be lifted up more in the public eye now. I expected so many things to happen just because our system has been broken for years and we won't do nothing to fix it. And so this is where we are.
And we'll be right back.
When we dialogue better,
man.
More great conversation from the live exchange.
Last egg roll, y'all.
Oh,
That's a book. The
I
last April.
I saw some posts on Twitter where they were talking about that whole like Black Lives Matter, like no, it was the comparison to Rosa Parks is what set me.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, they
Wow.
talking about how this is like this is as monumental as like Rosa Parks, refusing to, you know, not get out of the seat. And so it's like life or death.
Wow.
Like I just some
I
people.
mean, it's like teenagers who, you tell them they cannot go to something that is clearly dangerous and is going to kill them. It's like guaranteed death, and they're protesting. I should have the right to go to sure death.
Right.
It's like,
Some people.
and I've been that teenager.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, but in my defense, when I look out and see them articles and them papers and the photos that they got, they don't look too young. They don't look like no.
No. I'm not saying they're young. I'm saying they're acting like the rebellious teenagers that at least I know that I was. But no. They're not young.
Learning our lesson. You got the point. When we were just like,
No. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about young people. I'm talking about behavioral similarities between teenagers and these protesters out there in Minnesota or wherever they are talking about liberate us. Those are not young people.
liberating against like because if, your Paul passes a corona and then you don't want to sit there and blame the government because they don't have the right sources or funding
Right.
to make sure that or
No doubt.
you don't have a job to go to. Like,
Yeah, these are. I believe these are like middle-aged Trumpsters that we're seeing doing these protests. I'm just saying, because Trump retweeted their agenda and said "Liberate Michigan." I'm like, really, dude? Right after your press conference about us? Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
I don't know. Somebody come get their president. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
I don't know. My president, he put in a happy Easter and told us what to do. And
Right. Oh man, I meant to bring that up when we were talking about that on Trending Topics that he tweeted in support of the Michigan protesters. Like where? I don't know. It's probably good we didn't go there.
all right. When we come back, it's going to be going into the research.
Okay.
Research.
It's about us.
Oh, the line's acting funny. The connection's acting all widgety.
My name is Alicia, and I am here to
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
All right, coming back in like 25 seconds.
Okay. I didn't see you the last time because I was looking at the Facebook feed when you were telling me it's time to come on, and I was like, "Oh shoot, I'm still looking at Be Live."
All right, coming back in 5 seconds.
All right. So the research is brought to you by PZ Heads. And yes, PZ Heads is still up and running. And if you need any kind of tutorial for your natural hair while you're at home, there are tutorials that are available if you want to tighten your locks, buns, or whatever it is that you need. Definitely go to PZ Heads. And she is still sending out the amazing lemon butter cream and all of those other products. So go to pzheads.com. That's PEEZYHEDZ.com. So Robert, have
Yes,
you been
ma'am.
hearing any of the conversations about it being not really real, that Black people are more vulnerable or anything like that, to coronavirus? Like, what have you been hearing about Black people and our vulnerability?
What I've been hearing is that unfortunately the African American community have been more susceptible to more severe cases because of our underlying health issues.
Right.
That's what I've been hearing, and those are the factual numbers that I've been seeing coming from the CDC.
Yes.
Is that because of social economical things, we don't eat right, we don't take care of ourselves as an African American people. We're finding that we are the ones with the diabetes and the high blood pressure and all that stuff that contributes to making the cases a little bit more severe.
And also dealing with the racial trauma we deal with in this country adds to our stress levels and adds to being unhealthy. When you're dealing with constant trauma, even if watching police beatings and things like that on TV are traumatic. So we all have some element of trauma that we are dealing with in this country that's an extra layer than what somebody who's not experiencing racial trauma gets. So and so I say this in just kind of with an understanding that there's reasons why we have a higher risk. There are underlying societal, institutional reasons, and there are also behavioral reasons that are directly tied to how we live our lives. So we have to acknowledge both. Both. And I struggle with people who push back because they don't want to deal with both. We've been oppressed and society is messed up, period. And they stop there. And it's like, look, I get it. And the only way that we can survive that and push through that is if we survive this. And we have to think about what we need to do to do that. And so I think one of my frustrations has been that on my social media and among the people I've been talking to, there is a level of disbelief that this is really, we're really more vulnerable, but that it's media hoopla, or that it's something that was fed to us or given to us in higher proportion, but not that our response to it is more vulnerable because of some of the underlying conditions.
The funny thing is when this pandemic first started, I was hearing stuff like, "Oh, black people can't get it." Okay, which is it now? Come on, y'all.
Right. And that did not serve us well.
It didn't serve us well at all. So, this, all these woke thinking folk who don't have good information. Yeah. You're killing us. Stop it, please. Stop it.
Right. And the thing is, be woke, but be mentally woke.
Yeah, that's what said, the woke folk with bad information. There's some woke folk with good information, but there's some out there with bad information.
Right. Well, so, according to the CDC, and this was just on Friday, they basically revealed that 30% of COVID-19 patients are African American, even though we make up around 13% of the US population. So we are definitely, we have higher rates of getting infected. Let's see. It's consistent. So it's missing racial information on 75% of the patients in its database. So there's been this debate. Do we take racial information? Do we get demographic information so that we can learn more about this disease? And understandably, there's a lot of people who are like, no, that's an invasion of privacy. And
it goes into not trusting our government with that type of information and use it to continue to oppress us. And history has shown that. And so we can't trust that, I don't think.
Right. And so it's, and it's not just us. There are people who are, just rights of privacy type of people who are, because Facebook is also, I watched Zuckerberg and his wife talk about the what they're doing in, to try to assist with stopping the coronavirus. And of course, it's all technically related because it's Facebook, but keeping track, asking people to report if you have the virus, report how you got it, report where you live, report, and of course, as a researcher, I see a lot of value in that information. However, as somebody who has a little bit of conspiracy theorist in me myself, I'm like,
Yeah, and think about it. As a researcher, you found value in that information. So marketers are going to find value in that information.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying, where I'm going with that?
Right.
There's so many other people who can find value in that information and monetize.
Monetize.
Yeah.
And do worse, because to me, marketers are the least of they get on my nerves sometimes. but I'm more concerned about, handmaid tale type behaviors of the government, you know, and
Absolutely.
and so when I think
Policies
about
can
our
be made.
information,
Government policies
that
can be made based on that information. You know, it's
right.
so many.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. So I see the benefit, but I also see the risk, and I'm not
Hmm.
sure where I land on that as a result.
Well, we need the data,
Yeah.
because the bottom line, we're dying. People are dying, whether they're black, white, brown, whatever. People are dying every time someone takes their last breath. So a human being has died.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, not just a. You know,
Right.
it's to the point where it's just multiple.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and so if we're talking about New York, Black New Yorkers are dying at twice the rate of their white peers. Latinos in the city are also succumbing to the virus at a much higher rate than white or Asian New Yorkers. And the same trends can be seen in infection and hospitalization rates. So we're not just talking about, you know, so we're dying at higher rates, we're
Hmm.
also getting infected at higher rates, and we're getting hospitalized at higher rates. And so you know, to me, it's like no matter what you think in terms of conspiracy or what lies might be told, because a lot of people think these are just straight up lies. Like,
Yeah.
no, we are not getting infected at higher rates.
Hmm.
It compels me to want to do whatever is necessary, though, to make sure that we're okay.
Yes.
And I don't know how to combat the naysayers, the ones who are saying, you know what, that's just lies. It's just lies. There's
Yeah.
yeah.
The only way I can combat it is stay home.
Yeah.
That's how I realize. That's how I combat it. I stay home.
That's how I personally combat it.
Yeah.
But you know, there's so many people in our community,
I
you
stay
know, who are
home,
just like,
and when somebody
whatever,
asks, I try to give the knowledge on our platforms. You know what I mean? Try to give good
do what we gotta
information
do.
out. But
Yeah,
ultimately, everyone gets to make their own decisions, and so now I have to work hard to make sure your decisions don't negatively
don't
impact me.
impact me. Right. All right. So we'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents multiple choice parenting.
You've accidentally clicked your daughter's band.
This is gonna lead us into the 40 break as well. So then we're gonna come back with the balance challenge, which is
Okay.
actually great.
Okay.
So it's just like after the research, what do you do, and then.
Balance challenge.
Okay. Sounds good.
But okay, so for the conspiracy theory thing, right? Isn't this kind of like with the information that we're getting? This is probably like where it comes in like importance to where we should be the one taking lead on it, basically.
Mhm.
Like, you know, when they say like, wow, they're recruiting, like making sure we have more people that represent us in office and making sure that like we're not compromising ourselves. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, you know, we're
Absolutely.
gonna have those people that's gonna like take our information for granted. But we still honestly need to make sure that we get around this because we don't have time to butt heads to find
No,
or get things.
to get things done.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we don't.
You know,
At
and
all.
even the with these.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Oops.
Okay. Okay.
How do I get to this? Oh.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool.
You just looked down at your phone. You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel. In the next, take your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's not enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me. Whatever it is, you'll live. Learn more at stoptextstoplights.org. Brought to you by the Ad Force and the National Highway Traffic Department.
Did y'all figure out what y'all was gonna do to make money off of from the last week's balance challenge? Did you get to working on that idea?
I had an idea and I did not follow through.
I actually came up with a good one. I might start doing webinars. Oh no. All right, coming into the balance challenge.
Okay. I'm hearing.
Coming in.
Okay.
Dr. Pamela.
All right. So this week's balance challenge. Now, I don't know if you all are familiar with a concept called mental stamina. Does that ring a bell to you at all, Robert? Does that sound? Okay, there's something strange happening. Okay. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to take my headphones off because I'm hearing stuff from like 5 minutes ago. Okay. So as far as I don't know. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Something's wrong. Okay. So there's a concept called mental stamina, and basically what it means is that when you know that you have to go the long haul for something, something that is, I'm seeing that we have a commenter who's saying we can't hear Robert, so I don't know, there's something up with the mics or something. So is it at all possible for us to go to break? Because I'm not hearing things correctly.
Okay. All right.
QS Kids presents multiple choice parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Will you A, look
Okay.
in her shoes? How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends. B,
So can you hear me?
oh, sweetie,
Okay.
this is going to happen a lot for me.
So what's happening is that I am hearing our conversation from like 5 minutes ago, and it's loud in my ears. So if there's anything currently happening, I can't hear that. All I hear is what happened like 5 minutes ago. So
You can't hear.
I know a great place to live.
I just heard you say,
As a parent, there are no perfect answers.
Okay, try this. You guys both come out, and then I'm gonna add you guys back in.
okay. I can hear you say that, but I also hear my talk from 5 minutes ago at the same time.
And with every item you buy, you fund local.
Can you hear me? I'm
You're in
in.
there. You're good. Got you.
I'm good. I was hearing everything fine.
Yeah, but actually, I saw like your screen went black, and so then like everything was fine, and all of a sudden we weren't hearing you.
Oh wow.
Your
I touched nothing. My cord is in. I did nothing.
Yeah, it just did a weird glitch.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, they said I can't hear Robert.
Everyone's wearing them.
Can you hear me?
Basketball player. And
I can hear
I
you.
can hear you. Yeah.
B.
Okay.
Mom, where did
Hopefully we're all good now.
I'm gonna add like one more commercial in so we can kind of go back to the second one.
Are we gonna go back to balance challenge or what? Hold on.
We can do a balance challenge, but we're just gonna talk through.
Okay.
Mom, you really don't know.
Talk about the other time.
Okay.
As a parent, there are no perfect parents, but you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect
Hey,
parent.
Dr. Lowe. I hope we didn't lose her.
For more information on that, look
All right, so 15 seconds, we're into balance challenge, Yep. and we're gonna finish up talking.
Okay.
Struggle with addiction during their lifetime.
Yeah,
Want to know how you can help?
yeah, some weird glitch happened, and you know, like it went black on the screen, but then like I
Oh.
could hear him, and then randomly,
Wow. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
They-
Someone's
The man is trying to edit me. They're trying to censor me. Conspiracy. It's a conspiracy.
conspiracy. Are we back?
yes,
Yes, we
We're
are back.
back?
All right. So,
Oh, wow.
so thank you for bearing with us
Yes,
through
bear
that.
with us. We're back.
You know.
I had technical difficulties, but
Look.
I'm back.
It's bound to happen. Look, if who was it? Babyface and
Teddy
who was
Riley.
it? Yeah, if they can have
Babyface and Teddy
technical
Riley.
glitches, we can have technical.
I am the Teddy Riley of this broadcast.
All right, so the balance challenge this week is brought to you by Shalon Willis Beauty Architect. She is the official makeup sponsor for the Live Exchange. But today, the balance challenge is practicing mental stamina. So this is something I've been observing a lot in people and
Mhm.
watching kind of what's your mental stamina looking like. I've been writing about it. Don't be surprised if a book comes out. And it's, it's the idea that that you're going to have to deal with something that's either long-term or that's difficult. And it's how do you prepare your mind for that process? Because you're going to be in this thing. You can't avoid it. You can't try to sugarcoat it and make it pretty. You got to
Yeah.
do it. And when we think about mental stamina for even smaller things like working out, we've got to have our mind right, because if we don't feel like it, our mind has got to be over
Oh yeah.
whatever that situation is. So mental stamina means that I know how to train my mind to go the extra mile when I need to. And if we are not in that time right now, I don't know when we would need to practice.
No,
that.
because we're in overtime right now.
Yes,
You
we
know,
are. And,
yeah.
a lot of people were expecting, this thing's going to blow over. And, and even now, we have got to get our minds out of this thing is going to blow over overnight. We have
Right.
got to train our minds to have the stamina to go the long haul if we
Oh,
want
yeah.
to survive this thing.
Oh yeah.
So my challenge for you all this week is to train your mind to accept that we're in this for the long haul. Now, it may not look like it looks today. It doesn't mean we're going to be in our houses for the long haul necessarily,
Mhm.
but you've got to get your mind set that if we are in the house for a long term, we've got to know how we're going to do it.
Yeah, how you gonna move?
Right. And Robert, you've been doing it really well. Like I'm in that, but for you, you're like, I've been in the house so long, I'm kind of liking it.
Yeah, I need to
So-
make some changes, because when they do release us, I may be like, for what?
Lie. I know
Lie.
I'm not. I'm going to
I'm
watch the
staying
first 3 waves of people go out first. And then,
Yeah, I'm not gonna be the. Yeah, I'm gonna let everybody go. Everybody who's itching, let me know it's sweet out there. I need to see
Right.
if it's sweet first.
Let me see. But so that doesn't take mental stamina for us in this case, because the staying at home has been fine. Now there's been some element of mental stamina for sure, because it's
Absolutely.
different in a lot of ways, and we've got to
Yeah.
mentally plan. But there are people who are sincerely struggling with this, and this is where mental stamina comes into play. There's times where I don't want to work out. I try to go walk every day, and I don't
Yeah.
like cold either. So when it's cold, I have to fight through that every step. And what mental stamina is with every moment, with every phase of the process, you are renewing that idea that I'm in this. And
Yeah,
I'm going to start over, and I'm in this, and I'm in this. So that's what it is. And so what the challenge is for you to use this week to practice living in the moment, because sometimes what mental stamina requires is that ability to live in the moment. I am here right now, and I'm going to do everything I can to get to the next minute, to the next hour, to the next day. So practice living in the moment. And you can do that you can strengthen your mind by planning activities that strengthen your mind, like fasting. So that was one thing I tried last year for the first time. You know, we had churches that I've been to always talk about, we're going to fast in January.
Right.
And I'm like, that's cute. And as much as I respect fasting, I was just like, that's not for me because I got to eat.
Yeah.
And let me tell you,
I get it.
when I started doing it, I realized it's so much more than it is an exercise of discipline, of the mind, it does so much. And so if you can pick an activity, working out, every day, saying, I'm going to commit to the jump rope challenge, which a lot of people are doing, a minute of jump rope every day. It strengthens your mind. And the key is to do something you don't want to do, but that's good for you. That's what strengthens your mind. Yes. That's what strengthens your mind. It doesn't strengthen your mind to do something that's easy. Do something you don't want to do, but that's good for you every day this week. That's my challenge for you, is to strengthen your mental stamina. I accept too. So can I be nosy? What would you do, Robert? What would be your thing that you don't want to do, that you hate doing, but you know it's good for you?
Right now, it would have to be exercising. As much as a gym rat as I used to be, when I injured my back. I couldn't do that. So that would be the mental, because I would have to prepare myself mentally to push through some pain. And I'm not saying, to lift no heavy weights, but whatever I do, you know what I mean, is going to be some level of being uncomfortable. So I would have to prepare myself to push through that. Not to push myself to pain, to hurt myself, but to push myself past being uncomfortable so I can get the exercise that my mind, body, and spirit needs.
Right. Oh, that's so good. And when you said prepare, that's a key. You can't you're not going to just jump into something like that without preparing mentally, putting the things, when I was trying to get back into exercising after I had a lull, my friend told me, go to bed in your workout clothes. So when you wake up, you already got them on, and that's one step forward, and so, and so there's a lot of different strategies people can use. For me, working out comes really easy for me now. And so that's not the thing. What doesn't come easy, because I'm a gym rat, is running outside. Ooh, wow. I don't like that. So that would be the one for me.
I get it.
I will have to talk myself through that entire run if I'm running outside. So that would be mine.
Gotcha. I get it.
So yes. So that
Good
is
challenge.
that. Yeah. So that's the challenge. And so I don't know. I've just been seeing that people are really in need of some strategies for at least just mentally figuring out how to push through, because everybody's thinking, well, not everybody, but a lot of people are thinking, give it a month, I'll be fine. I can buy groceries for a month and I'll be okay. But what happens when this turns into 2022?
Right.
I see. Versus
everybody
no!
ooh. Yeah. What happens to turn into 2022?
But that's the thing, is we have to be willing to allow our minds to prepare ourselves for 2022. Not that we're speaking this into existence and we're saying it's going to be that, but if it is, how are you going to survive this if your mind is only allowing yourself to go a month? In a month we'll be fine. A month comes and goes and we're not fine. I mean, at what point do you just fall out because your hopes are just up there? So it's just really, it's a matter. What did I touch on?
Mental health. A lot of people's mental health are failing now. Because they're inside and they don't have coping mechanisms.
Right. That's so important.
Yeah. And so, a lot of anxiety attacks, a lot of, depression, all that's coming forth
Loneliness.
now. Loneliness. Yeah.
So you've got to be intentional about your strategy. If you know that loneliness is a risk for you, or that you've been feeling it, you have got to be intentional about changing that situation from loneliness to, I've got a support network. If you've got to call people and say, look, I am struggling for real, and I need, can we meet up virtually, every other day or whatever it is? You've got
Yeah.
to create that for
You
yourself.
got to create. That's a good way to start a home-based business. You know what I mean? That's another
Yeah.
way. I just thought of one. You're lonely. Okay, there's other lonely people out there.
Bring them
Create a
together.
network, a
That's really
support
good.
system, webinars. You know what I mean?
That's
Where
really
you can
good.
get that connection, and that'll help you. You know, because the days will go by quicker, and before you know it, you know, you done been in the house 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you look up, and you're like, where did the time go?
Yeah.
Because you kept your mind busy.
And that's what's been happening here at this house is
Hmm.
just wait, it's midnight. When did that
Yeah.
happen? It just the
Yeah, there's
days
been
go.
days I worked harder than I did when I could leave out my house, you know?
Oh yeah. I always work better at home than
Yeah,
in an
I'm
office space.
putting stuff
So
away, like, let me turn it off and stop.
yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, so we just
Yeah,
have to be it's just so important to create your situation and not let I think somebody had said in a meeting this week that, for some people the world is happening to them, and for other people they are happening to the world. And
yeah.
we can control that,
Hmm.
the extent to which we are happening to the world as opposed to the world is
Yeah, I've
happening to
been
us.
watching, there are some remarkable people. I can tell they're bored at home, but their boredom has sparked creativity.
Oh, that's so good.
Because I have seen some amazing TikToks and Instagram, social media videos where they just made up elaborate comedy skits.
I
You know
love
what I
it.
mean? Yeah, I'm like, wow, look how talented you are. You're a writer. Write that.
Yeah, yeah,
You
right.
write that skit, submit it. You're developing your own, variety shows. I don't think people understand what they're doing. You
Yeah, and
know,
Netflix is probably looking for stuff.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of creativity out there. That's the one thing I've been impressed about is the
Hmm.
creativity I've been seeing with the people, just with their phones.
Yeah, yeah. We are blessed to be in a time like this and have a quarantine. Those
Hmm.
people who had a quarantine in 1918
Right.
is
It's nothing. Yeah.
yeah, very, very different. So no, so I, just again, it's about being really intentional about what you need to create. In my book, Letters to the Brokenhearted, I talked about how to encourage yourself. There are going to be times where you are sliding down that shower wall in
Yeah.
tears and like
Hmm.
and in those moments, you have got to know what it takes to get yourself back up, because there's
Yeah.
not always going to be somebody there in those moments,
Right.
especially now. So what is your strategy? One of the things
Hmm.
that our coach instructors at the Academy of Creative Coaching does is she asks the coach trainees, when they
Hmm.
start, if you get to a point that you feel like you're going to lag and you're not going to follow through with something, you're not going to stick with the commitment, what do you want me to say to you to get you
Wow.
back on your feet? So she asks that question when they're excited and ready to
Hmm.
go. And she writes it down and she brings it back to them in those times when they're missing appointments or they're not following through or they're feeling a lag in that motivation. And
That's
she says
good.
it works every time. Yeah. So in your place of well-being,
Hmm.
what do you need from yourself to get yourself going? And put that thing
Wow.
in place. Write it down.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Wow. I like that. Huh.
So, oops. Yeah. So it's, there's again, I can't underscore enough just how important it is. And I would love to hear your strategies as well. So,
Yes.
reach out to us. We're on Facebook Live on Sensation Station Network. We'd love to hear your comments. So
Absolutely.
chime in, because I know you all are doing some things out there that are incredible. I've been seeing y'all, videos and
Oh yeah.
exercise and,
Yeah.
people who don't
Cooking,
exercise. Yes.
recipes. I done seen it all.
Right.
It's been great. Yeah.
Yes. So keep it going, and we'll be right back.
We'll be back.
Shoot. There's something I was going to bring up that I forgot. Hold on.
We dialogue better. We do better. More great conversation.
What you say you was gonna bring up?
I was going to bring up this thing about feelings. I forgot, but it's not too late.
Okay. Yeah, we got another hour.
Yeah.
What do you make of identity politics?
This is America.
All right. Good evening and welcome to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela.
And I'm Robert Pierce.
And today we are talking about, yes, the coronavirus. It's time to wake up. This is not a drill.
Wake up.
Wake up. And this hour, we're going to be focusing in a lot on the conspiracy theories that are out there and why people love these things.
Yeah.
You know, I have had people on my page who, and look, if y'all are one of those people, it's okay. But I've had people on my page who I really respect and, you know, admire. And then I see them post a conspiracy. And I'm like, oh, you're one of them.
Yeah. I had a friend. He called me, and he's a diehard New Yorker. And, you know, the whole thing was he called and was like, yo, son, I'm sending you something. I got to send this to you, son. You know, it's going to blow your mind. And he sent me this conspiracy theory, something about the 5G towers.
Oh, yeah. That's the big one right now.
Yeah, that's another one. And, you know, I never even called him back. I was like, you know what? I can't do that right now. I don't even know if it even has any legs. I was like, you know what? I can't do you, bro.
Yeah, no, it does not have legs. It does. I'm just going to say it. It does not. It doesn't even.
Yeah, I didn't even read it to even, you know, entertain it. I don't know. I was like, I just can't do that, bro.
Well, the claim is that there's not really a virus, that there is a disease, but that it's not really a virus and that everybody is getting it from the 5G towers. And there are people all over the world who are actually burning these towers down because they believe that that's where it's coming from. And what's interesting is that people are contracting the virus who don't live near the technology of 5G towers. And when you bring that up, the comeback is, oh, you just, okay, well, right then, you just, you know, all right, then you be in the dark.
Stay asleep.
Like, can you give me a defense against the people who get it? No, they cannot. So, but yeah, it's interesting. No, there was one thing that I wanted to bring up about one of the, I always like to find a social media a theme that kind of, or meme that, you know, just I think is deep, or maybe, you know, says something that we might need to hear. And so this one was posted to the page of Sophia Casey, and it says, it's a quote by Miriam Hasna, and it says, "Are you in your feelings or are you in somebody else's feelings?" So what it literally says is, "Are you in your feelings or someone else's?"
Wow.
And that's something to think about.
Yeah.
You know, because feelings are contagious.
Oh, yeah. No, that's you know, that's a deep statement, you know, and that's the thing that can grab you with these conspiracy theories. Every now and then they slip one in on you, like, and have you chase the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? See how deep the rabbit hole is. And you just have to be careful with that because it sends you on so many thoughts, you know, paths of thought.
Right.
And, you know, if you toss to and fro by every wind of doctrine, that's not good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And just fear, you know, people's fears, people's anxieties, you know, if you're in the same house and you're experiencing that stuff is contagious.
Absolutely.
And, you know, you've got to find ways to make sure what you're feeling is what you feel, what's your orientation and not what somebody else is putting on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's contagious, it's going to rub off on you, and then you wondering why you are responding to information the way you are. Well, because you've been indoctrinated in your mind, because you keep taking it in. You
keep taking it in. That's really good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to go on a break. We're going on a trip to a break. Because that's the only kind of trip we can take right
that's
now.
That's it.
So stay with us.
We'll be back.
You don't usually get a stop from a 16-year-old.
The hat was getting hot.
Yeah, I was worried about this sweatshirt, but it's because my house is hot. I don't know what your house feels like.
Oh, it's freezing here. That's why I have this hoodie on. And, you know, I had the hood on all day, but I put the hat on because I didn't want to sit on the broadcast with a hoodie on.
Okay.
But it's cold here. I don't know why. I do know why, because I have a window open in my bedroom.
That would do it.
Yeah.
40 degrees.
Which is really throwing me off. This is going to make it way worse. Like, I'm trying to start working out. Like, me and my sister and her husband, they get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and like work till like 6. And, you know, how does it like it is, it was freezing outside. And then
Oh, you went outside for this?
we ran around our neighborhood. So
Oh, wow.
it was freezing. And then like later that day, it was like super hot. And these fluctuation temperatures, we're not going to know if it's corona. We don't know if it's going to we don't even know if we just actually sick.
It's sick, yeah.
Well, that takes some mental stamina for 5 in the morning. That would take some serious mental stamina.
You know, the amazing thing, since this has started, I wake up every morning at 5 a.m. consciously.
Really?
So I don't stay in the bed. Yeah, I get up. Yeah. Every day I get up. I may not get out the bed, but I'm up. I'll turn the TV on. You know, but 6 o'clock, by 6, my feet has hit the ground every day.
Wow. I don't even know if I envy that. I'm not sure yet.
No, I'm not. Like 5 o'clock, I just could randomly pop up. Like if there's any time, like say if we're at like catch a flight or something, and we have to be up by like 5, I could do that, but not to start my day. It's just my body can just.
I just started doing it just so I don't be that bed rat, you know, and just stay in the bed and all that. I get up and, you know, I brush my teeth, you know, get clean, do my routine.
That's good.
You know.
I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum. My day ends very late. It starts late and it ends late, but I still have this huge window of time, but it just doesn't start till 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then it ends at 1 in the morning.
And see, and I'm now going to bed early too. I've stopped at staying up late. I go to bed.
That's great. I
Yeah.
just don't know. It's not for me.
I pick and choose. Like if depending on what I have to do the next day, I'm just like, okay, I think I can be up to like 1 tonight, and then I'm telling them like, you know what, I'm gonna go to bed at 11 because no, I'm not. I can't.
Yeah, I go to bed. One night I went to bed at 8 o'clock and really went to bed. Yeah, and went to
Still
sleep.
daylight.
It was still daylight. Yeah, I went to bed. I was tired.
No, my body doesn't do that.
When we come back, guys, we're gonna be an open talk.
Okay.
Yeah. But my body Thursday, right? It's we don't know what the week is anymore. But I knew it was Thursday. That I had to do my school. And it was like, no, today's Saturday. And I was like, I have to do work. My body was like, we're just gonna sit today. Okay. Just know we gotta do this on Saturday. Come back in 30 seconds, guys.
All right.
We can, for those who are just tuning in, go ahead and just kind of do a refresher as well.
Okay.
Or or front show the show. Refresh the front show.
One day I'm gonna figure all this terminology out. I need a thesaurus or a glossary in front of me. All right, welcome back to the live exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela.
And I'm Robert Pierce.
And today we are talking about the coronavirus in terms of our response to it. It is here. This is not a drill.
No,
people
real
talk
life.
about they woke. Well, let's really be woke about what's important, about what's there's a lot of myths out there. There's a lot of misconceptions, and there's a lot of noise that's distracting us from what we really need to be focused on. So that's really what I'm hoping to.
Yeah, even noise from our president, all these tweets and, it's just too much. And we just need to stop and just let's, for whatever time, let's come together. Let's be one collective and let's not be selfish and let's help everyone get to the other side of this.
And it seems like that wouldn't be so hard to do.
Yeah.
But it's for some reason, it's just so hard to do. We've got so many factions going on right now. We've got the the conservative Trumpsters. I don't know what else to call them, who are just all about liberate us. We've got the Pensacola crowd. I shouldn't call it the Pensacola crowd, but the folks who are like, I'm gonna have a block party no matter what. We're in the hood. Who cares?
We're
whatever.
Roll up, smoke, drink, and just have a good time. Whatever
just
happens,
do whatever.
happens. Yeah.
And we've seen that in so many different cities happen, across the U.S. And we've got also our churches, and
Yes.
and I want to talk about the churches for a minute without giving churches a bad rap, because we have churches responding in a couple of different ways. So we have some churches that have taken this virtual thing and run with it. Like, we are maximizing this, because now we're not limited to our region, our community. Now we can reach the entire world.
International ministry overnight.
Yes, overnight.
Overnight.
And I've seen some ministries do this in an amazing way. And I've always been kind of a fan of TD Jakes. He kind of got me through my divorce a little bit.
Okay.
So he's been really great, for that. I think it was Woman Thou Art Loosed, and there was a couple of books that came out around that time that were really great. But so what I love about TD Jakes is that he's so multifaceted. He does theater productions, he does books, he has this ministry in the church, and then he's got this online ministry that has already been solid. But as you pointed out, and this is what really made me tune in, Robert, was when you said that he was preaching in the church and it was empty, this huge church, empty, to make the point. We can still do this.
We can still do this. Yeah, there's creative ways to do whatever we want. The technology is here. And so I'm so happy that the Christian community, the churches, a lot of them are adapting it and using it, and we're finding that it's working, and the people love it.
Yes. And what keeps getting emphasized is that the church is not a building.
Yeah.
We are the church.
Right. And we heard that for so many years, but now we're putting it to practice.
And that's what I'm saying. This is not a drill. This is
it. This is what we've been saying. We're beyond the four walls. Well, okay, there's no more four walls. Let's go.
Let's go. And then there were some churches that were ready and some that were not. And look, this isn't even to knock the churches that weren't ready. There's still time to do what needs to be done. There's still time that you can, if you're not ready, encourage your members to partner with another church. I mean, there's so many opportunities, to still feed people spiritually, and so, and so with that said, I also wanted to kind of turn it a little bit to the direction of, a couple of pastors who are protesting and are saying that this is a violation of the rights of religion to practice. Sadly, a pastor in Virginia passed away this week. Was it this week?
Yeah, I think this week or last week. I heard that.
Yeah, he held the church service, and the message was that God is bigger than coronavirus. And in all fairness, he held and this I didn't know until I really read into it. The church service was held the day before the sanctions were put into place to not meet with more than 10 people. So, yes, the church knew that this was coming, but it wasn't yet in place. So it was the next day after that it was put in place. But the message is still one that a lot of people are saying. And this is one of the things that I wanted to kind of just pick your brain about a little bit. But the idea is that God is bigger than the coronavirus. And I'm going to stand in faith. And absolutely. Where do people draw the line? Is there a line? How do people decipher between the message that God is bigger than the coronavirus and we can stay home? How do those two exist together? And it looks like we have to go to a break, but that's the question on the table.
Yeah, I want to start it when we come after break, so I don't stop. So
okay.
We'll go into a break, and then I'll give you the answer.
Okay.
And that'll give me some time to do something, and I'm going to be ready to give you that answer. I think this will help some people.
That would be awesome. All right. So stay with us for this answer, and we'll be right back.
Baby shampoo.
All right. Wardrobe malfunction. I'll be right back.
Did you see on like your timeline about those two kids that went on TikTok and made certain remarks against Black people? Not certain remarks, like they were like super like racist.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was like
I fixed it. Oh.
Oh yeah, they were basically like just really like racist, like just saying like black people are lazy and all this stuff, and it blew up because
Mm-hmm.
they like it first of all it was like one of like the oldest that like when people are like being racist against like black people, and it's just like, really, are we still like making jokes like this in a time like
Right.
But what really like kind of sparked my interest was because like the way the school retaliated, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was they expelled them, saying that they wouldn't be able to graduate. Because I was just like, what could you do to reprimand the kids? And we're all already out of school, like like
Right.
you like expelled, but they was like they can't, they're saying that they won't be able to graduate. But it's like, how long is that gonna stand with like with everything like going on? They're probably just gonna like, I feel like the school probably made that statement just to kind of like make it like die down or whatnot, but it's like we're already on. There's not much else that we'll be able to do. Yeah. All right. Coaching. All right, so when we come back, we're going to be into open talk.
Okay.
So you can be able to tackle your heavy topic.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to
Drop some knowledge on us.
All right, coming back in 5 seconds.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela.
And I'm Robert Pierce.
And we are talking about the coronavirus and how we're responding to it, and realizing this is not a drill. This is the real deal. And we're right before the break, we were talking about the responses of some churches, and some churches are doing a phenomenal job in just really, keeping things going, and actually in, I think in some ways greater than
it forced the church to be the church, to serve the people, to be what God designed the church to be. Absolutely.
I love it. Mm-hmm. And so right before the break, I asked Robert, there's a tragically a church in Virginia lost their pastor. He had a huge service as things were kind of ramping up with coronavirus, and his message to the people we're not afraid of this thing. God is bigger than the coronavirus. And 2 weeks later, he died from the coronavirus. And now, for what I didn't mention, is 4 of his family members are also battling it now. And I'm not sure about the church community right now, but they mentioned those 4. So I'm just curious to know your thoughts, your take on this, this, I don't want to say this idea like it's a bad idea. It's true. God is bigger than the coronavirus.
God is certainly bigger.
Where do you draw the line? Where's the balance there?
You draw the line because we have to take heed to the messages that's coming forth. And I'll say it this way. In the book of Exodus, you'll find when Moses and the children of Israel were petitioning Pharaoh to let my people go, and the plagues, God sent plagues.
Yes.
Remember those plagues. And the final plague was that the firstborn was going to be killed. But God set a provision for those who would listen. This is what he said: go home, go in your house, put the lamb's blood over your door, and I will pass over you when I see that lamb's blood. Okay. The government's message has been, go home and you can protect yourself from the virus.
Yeah.
If you go home, stay home, self-quarantine, but this will pass over you if you stay home. And so the key is, hear the word of the land, stay home, and this will pass over you. But the problem is, where God is bigger than the church, he's bigger than the virus, he's bigger than all this. But the word is stay home. And so how can you make him bigger and prove that he's bigger? Stay home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can go even further. When Jesus was on the mountain, and Satan came to test him. You know, he said, God, Satan said to Jesus, "Throw yourself over the cliff." And Jesus says, "Well, no, I'm not going to tempt God." I'm
Right. That's
paraphrasing.
so good.
I'm not going to tempt God. That don't make sense.
That's so good. That's on point. Yes.
And so again, why would we do this? To roll the dice. Why tempt God? Why do we need a miracle to go outside and not contract it when you just stay home?
Yeah. That's really
And
good.
then we don't have to pray for miracles.
Yeah. Right. Yep. And it also sends a message about heeding the law of the land, because that's part of what we're called to do.
Right. We as preachers always preach obedience and being obedient to your leadership, being obedient to the government, those who are governed over you. Well, okay, now practice what you preaching, brother.
That's good. That's good.
Because you're going to want your people to submit to you, but you're not submitting to any leadership.
Woo!
And anytime you follow a leader who's not submitted under leadership, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Even if we think about submitting under leadership that's foul, that's corrupt, let's look at, some of the, Gandhi and Martin Luther King and some of the others who said, yeah, we don't like it. We're going to be vocal about it, but we're not going to, disrespect you. We're not going to, create
Whenever
violence.
I heard pastors tell somebody who asked that same question, they always said, respect the position, not the person. Respect the position, not the person. So now I want to put that out to everyone. Respect the position, not the person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Because I don't know how much let me stop. Okay.
Absolutely. And if we cannot respect the leadership, then we have to do what we need to do to change the leadership.
And we can't do it dead.
And we can't do that dead. Absolutely. We have to do that. We got to make it through this.
Right. Yeah, so there's another pastor where is he? He's in Pennsylvania, and he wants to organize an outdoor Woodstock-like service. Like, you weren't trying to do that before now,
right.
But he wants to do an outside huge Woodstock type service. And this is in protest of the arrests of multiple pastors throughout the United States who have had who've been arrested for violating the corona or the, shelter in place orders. So his whole thing is he's going to have this huge service and a national gathering, people from all over. And he's, going to do it in honor of this one pastor that got arrested and a number of others. So I don't know. It's
my message, saints who are out there listening, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and this is the key, a sound mind.
A sound mind.
A sound mind. Let's think. Please don't go following reckless people.
Right. Well,
that 9 times out of 10 did not hear from God.
Yeah. And that's so. When I listened to the interview of the daughter, the pastor who just died in Virginia, and it was heartbreaking to hear, her talking about this, and her stance remained that God is bigger than coronavirus. And so my thing is, you're speaking a truth, but it's incomplete. Like, you're not. There's still information missing.
God is bigger than HIV, but if you shoot up dirty needles, you have a stronger chance to contract HIV.
That's a really good analogy.
But he's bigger than HIV, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that thinking is kind of strange to me.
Yeah. And the thing is, there was so much sincerity coming from that,
Yeah.
So before we go to break, I just want to read this quote really quickly from the attorney who arrested the pastor. He said, "I'd like to remind the good pastor of Mark 12:31, which said, 'There's no more important commandment than to love thy neighbor as thyself. Loving your neighbors is protecting them, not jeopardizing their health by exposing them to this deadly virus.'"
Absolutely.
Wow.
Said it
We'll
well.
be right back.
We'll be back.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit.
Did that make sense?
My video.
Absolutely. I thought that was great. I didn't even expect you to come with the being on the mountain and throw yourself off the mountain one. That was on point.
Yeah. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
is sad, but
It is sad.
I get it.
It is sad. Right? Just see his whole family,
Yeah,
you know.
go down and
Yeah.
maybe, amen.
There's a spider in the
Yeah.
carpet. We're turning your room into a home gym. See?
But there's been lawsuits and everything. I don't know if you've been seeing that. You know, they're
No, when I tell you, I kind of detached myself. I just had to. For
yeah.
that mental stamina, I was, let me take a break. And like I said, I
Right.
would only look at some things that just came on my phone as, breaking news. And I look, some of them I never even looked at.
Yeah.
One more drink before I
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I lawsuit, like full on lawsuits because of we're being our rights are being violated. I'm thinking, how is this? How are you not getting it? But like I said, it's cross demographic. Like it's
Yeah,
it's
Did you see a warning sign?
Yeah.
Stop. And
When we come back, we're gonna be going straight into the research.
okay. Ooh, lightning!
Brought to you by Nitsa
I
and
saw that too. Like,
You saw it too?
Yeah, I just got an alert that severe thunderstorms are rolling in. I just
Oh,
got the alert.
goodness. And there's the thunder.
Yep.
Oh no!
It's
Oh.
Yeah, that's the thunder.
No, that's it, because I hear it at my house.
Oh my gosh, that's long thunder.
Yeah.
coming back in 14
Tell us
seconds.
at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National
Boy, it's still going.
Right, that was a long one.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the wrong place. It's Solution Club, an internet station network.
All right. So the science is probably going to take a lot of the rest of the show.
Okay, let's go.
And I think because it being responsible journalists here, media folks here, I think we need to address some of the conspiracies and understand, where they're coming from.
Mhm.
And what this does for people. And, so, there's a lot, but it's, so let me say first that this is brought to you by the Academy of Creative Coaching. And right now the Academy of Creative Coaching is actually doing a community initiative called Coaching for COVID. So if there's anybody that you know or yourself who would like some coaching through this time, and coaching is really focused on strategy and how you get from point A to point B. If you're at home and you're not sure what to do with yourself, if you're struggling with homeschooling your kids and managing that with your work, there's
That's
a lot
good.
of different issues that people can utilize coaching for. So this is free pro bono coaching. Go to the academyofcreativecoaching.com, just academyofcreativecoaching.com if you are interested in getting some free coaching yourself. So this is looking at why the corona's conspiracy theories seem to thrive. What is going on with that? And this is from some information coming from the New York Times. And what it's saying is that when you have an idea of why something is happening, you've got the secret. That's really the fuel for people, is that the belief that one is privy to forbidden information.
Yeah.
Yes, it gives feelings of certainty and control in the midst of a crisis. Like, I know what this is about.
Mhm.
It kind of gives people, even if it's a false sense, but a sense of security in knowing. So sharing that knowledge gives people something that's hard to come by. Sharing knowledge that's hard for people to come by gives people a sense of agency. And what agency is a sense of control, a sense of
Okay.
I can do something about this and I'm not a victim here. So rumors and unbelievable claims are spread by people every day whose critical faculties have been overwhelmed. Just like critical faculties, meaning being able to critique things and analyze things and say, you know what, that doesn't make sense. So when their critical faculties have been overwhelmed, They
Mhm.
pick up things and spread them around like what you and I have been seeing in our
Yeah.
inboxes, via text, however people are sending them out. And that has a lot to do with their critical faculties, their ability to scrutinize and critique information. They're overwhelmed. And so they just pick one.
They
They
just
go
pick
with it.
one and just go and start sharing.
Yeah. Yes. And so this is what happens is that you have feelings of confusion and hopelessness before you start feeling that. When that overwhelm happens, you're feeling confusion, you're feeling hopeless. So something has got to make sense. It's not enough to say that this thing was started in one country and swept all around the world. No. Somebody had to have swept it around.
Yeah,
There had
and
to be
someone
some
had to have
intention.
started and with bad intentions in some laboratory made
Yes.
this up. I
It
did
had
see
to be.
something about that.
Yes.
It was created in a laboratory in China.
Yes, and that there was and I don't know if this is the same one, but that there was a partnership with a Harvard professor who collaborated
that was
with
it.
Yeah. So there was some twists and turns to that story. Yes, indeed, there was a Harvard professor that was arrested in connection with a lab in China. It had nothing to do with coronavirus. It was because he wasn't being honest about where his funding for his research on cancer was coming from.
It was a bookkeeping issue.
Yes.
Record keeping. Yeah, okay.
So the headlines, and this happened in January. So the headlines were like, "Oh, this is the professor that created the virus with the Chinese," and that's not at all
nothing to do with anything.
So yes,
wow.
So that myth debunked, you guys. No, that's not what happened. and so another thing that's happening though is that Facebook, Reddit, I think there's other media outlets, Google, they're coming together, and they are that, like, Facebook has a team of fact checkers now.
Good.
And so yes, and so that is their job. And I bet you guys, if you want a job, I bet you they're hiring for that because they need lots of them. Yeah. Mark Zuckerberg was on CNN the other night talking about how they fact check like 30,000 pieces of information. So and then I think they found out that like 6,000 of it was false. And so if you want that, look, that's a job for somebody.
That's a job. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From home. Yeah. So so there are, and look, talk about starting a business, Robert. Can't somebody start a fact checking business? Hello.
A fact checking business for podcasts and radio shows.
Yes, that's really see. There you go. There's a business for y'all. We're gonna have a business for you every week. Yeah. Yes, and I want to know if any of y'all picked it up. And let us know. So here are some of the and one of the things that the World Health Organization has said is that we are not just battling a pandemic, we're also battling an infodemic, because
that's good.
It's a flooding of false information. And you know what? I'll just say it's a flooding of information, and we don't know what's false.
We don't know what's true or false, right?
Right. We have to sift through it.
So, I'm noticing on my timeline, I'm getting a lot more political stuff. Occupy something is Occupy Democrats.
Yeah.
They're flooding my timeline with propaganda information. And I actually sent a spam. Please stop sending me this. I don't want it. Because I just noticed they kept coming. And it's, all these conspiracy theory videos and all this other stuff. And it's too much, man. Yeah.
Look, y'all, if you're my friend, please stop, because I've started blocking your ability to inbox me. So I'm just gonna warn you now. Stop it.
Stop it.
Yes. And so PG had said, "Oh my God, infodemic." Yes, an infodemic. Like, we're flooded with information and information. And I would think if we're talking about a demic, that it's not good information, that this is toxic information. And
I really want on this information, y'all, please don't just put it out because you want to be first. I noticed that people just post it, share it, because they want to be the first to break some news. You know what I mean? And then it end up being all wrong.
That's part of the psychological part of this whole conspiracy theory. And we're going to talk about that because this covers that too. So stay with us. We've got so much more for you.
We'll be back. We gave somebody another bit every week. We give someone a business.
Yeah, I want to see these things take off.
Correct. This is how many businesses we started.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, we just got a new set of graduates. I almost forgot about that. Let's see.
Congratulations again. That's
Woo,
every week.
woo. Next week is Toronto. This was West Coast this week.
Toronto, one of my favorite cities.
Yeah. I flew over it to get to Ottawa, and I loved Ottawa.
I love
Amazing.
Canada. I would live in Canada if I
I
could
would
right
too.
now.
They all get $2,000 a month for their stimulus checks.
Nice.
That, like, this gives you all my reasons on why we like. Oh, I just should go live in Canada. Like, they love their people.
Yeah, great people. It's
Yeah.
just cold. And they need to put
That's
it a
the
little
only
south.
thing.
Yeah, it has to go south.
That's the only thing. If they could do a big dome of warmth in one of their countries, I'll move there.
Right.
I'll even pay the taxes for the dome. I'll do it.
A big biosphere, right?
That would be nice.
Mhm.
We come back. We're gonna have like 2 minutes of talk, really like 1:50. So if there's any like recap information you guys want to go over, and then we'll finish out the conversation. Well, yeah.
Okay.
So 1:50 out to break.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Quick in and out.
Yes.
I'm ready to see the Chicago Bull documentary comes on tonight. I can't wait.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that the
Last
yes.
Dance? Yep,
I
9
saw
o'clock,
that.
ESPN.
Yeah, and it's like for what, 4 weeks or 5 weeks or something?
Yeah, 5 weeks. It's a 10-part series.
I love it.
Epic.
Love it, love it, love it. I know I was a
I
hardcore
watched-
Lakers fan, but
have you seen on Netflix? What is it? Black AF? I ain't gonna say the word.
I want to see it.
Oh, it's
It looks-
hilarious. It's
Is
the
it?
best.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's on
the
my
best.
list. All right, we're back on the live exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela,
I'm Robert Pierce.
and we are talking about this coronavirus. Wake up!
Wake up,
This
wake
is
up,
not a
wake up.
drill.
This
a
is real,
thing.
y'all. This is real
And-
life. Let's get it right.
What we're trying to convey is that because it's not a drill, you got to focus on the right things. If we're going to survive this and do it well, then we
Mhm.
can't be distracted. We've got to be focused on the right things.
Yeah, we have to be. And
Yes.
information. We have to get the right information out, get it to the right people, and let's do
Right.
the right thing with the information. Let's stay home. Let's get through this, and let's get everyone well.
Yes, yes. And so with that said, looking at some of these conspiracies that are out there, I'm just going to
Mhm.
read a few of them.
Let's
Um,
go. I'm interested to hear them.
Yeah, they're interesting. So just so you
Mhm.
know, everything I'm reading, you guys, this is not
It's a
true.
conspiracy. Right. And so after everyone, I'm going to say that because I don't want nobody to come in the middle.
the live
and be like,
exchange said.
Yeah, right.
Thank
So
you.
we're going to flood it with, okay, go.
Yes.
This is a conspiracy theory. Number 1, go.
Number 1, claims that the virus is a foreign bioweapon, a partisan invention, like something the Democrats, which is what
Mm-hmm.
the president claimed, a partisan invention, or part of a plot to re-engineer the population, like to lower. I've heard that a lot. We're gonna have to lower the population.
So we're experiencing the purge.
Yes, in
Wow,
a sense.
okay.
Yes. So we're gonna replace a mindless virus with more familiar villains. So each claim seems to give a senseless tragedy some degree of meaning, however dark it is. So each one of those claims, somebody created this to wipe us out.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So we had to go to break, but that's
Okay. So we have a diabolical villain out there. Okay.
Yes.
We'll be back.
Yes. We'll be back.
It's funny because I'm literally watching Black Panther now
Oh, really?
on TBS. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And so that's why I said a diabolical villain because it's superhero stuff,
Uh-huh. It is. I mean, we can write all kinds of fantasy sci-fis
Right,
around this
yeah.
period.
Around the Transformers, right?
I am looking forward to the new Avengers that they're bringing. They're gonna have,
Mhm.
or if they even do, because like
Yeah.
when they did their convention, they rolled out movies that
Really?
like focused more on the other Marvel characters, and they don't. So like
Hmm.
I didn't see an Avenger thing in there. Probably won't be one for
Hmm.
a while.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Endgame. I just don't want to buy it. It has to be free.
Ah, it's
Stream
worth
it.
it.
It is?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna buy it just on your word.
So worth it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. I looked for it
Yes.
on and everything. It was of course, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna
Oh,
spend money.
really? So, okay, because the second time I watched it, I streamed it, but
Oh, really? So okay,
maybe
I
I
need to
shouldn't be
look
giving
again.
all my info on.
Yeah,
on
you
the,
may.
you know,
I got the
it's
Fire Stick. I can go the other route, but I was
okay.
trying to do the right thing.
Well, that's paying for it.
Yeah, right thing is pay. Yeah. Well, wait till it come on cable or
I'll be
something.
in the
You know, I already
balance
paid
challenge.
for that.
Okay, balance challenge.
But yeah, see, check out that Netflix. It's hilarious.
I saw I didn't even see a preview. I saw something on my timeline. I was like, "Ooh, this looks interesting." And I
Yeah.
have been watching a lot of TV stuff, but
Right.
I'm gonna check it
Coming
out.
back in 3 seconds, guys.
Okay. I don't even know what the balance challenge is. What does that do? All right, we're back. We're back.
We're back.
We're back. So the balance challenge for this week is about mental stamina and
Mhm.
what does it take for you to mentally get your mind right in order to get through what it is that we're. And you know what? And maybe even the words "to get through" speaks to some kind of inability that might exist to get through. I mean, maybe it's just a matter of changing our language in general, but but preparing our minds for today. What do I need to do today to get to the next minutes? And what do I need to do to address the condition of the world in my home and personally? I don't know how long this is going to last, but what I do know is that I'm going to come out on the other end of this as healthy as possible. So what does that mean for today? What does that mean for this hour? Sometimes people need to take things hour by hour, minute by minute.
Right. Yeah.
And that is okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
If you have to put the day in compartments just to get through them, do whatever you have to do to get through it in a healthy state. Just do whatever it takes for yourself.
Yeah.
Because you have to come out of this whole.
Oh, and the key to mental stamina is really that idea that I am having to be conscious and present in mind in order to get through something that I don't want to do. You don't need to really have a whole lot of mental stamina for things you love.
Right.
I'm going to go to the Bahamas and lay on the beach. You don't need mental stamina for that, But if you are dealing with something on the way to the Bahamas, God forbid, the boat, breaks down and you guys got to sit in the ocean for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You're going to need some mental stamina to get through that,
Yeah.
So what are you going to do in this situation, knowing that it's even though, they're going to open up the country tomorrow or whatever, like they said, in different places they're going to open. But that doesn't mean that your world goes back to normal in an instant.
Normal. Right.
So the challenge is, I guess I got to give the challenge because we're going to break. The challenge is to do activities that are going to strengthen your mind and your mental stamina. If that means, like me, I don't like to run outside. I like to run on a treadmill. I'm going to run outside and I'm going to use every minute to motivate myself. I'm going to get through this minute. I'm going to get through the next minute and so forth. So do what you have to do. Come up with activities that will force you to strengthen your mental stamina. That's the challenge.
I accept.
We'll be right back.
We'll be back.
I guess I'll make mine running because I said it twice.
Yeah, you gotta run.
I power walk really well.
Like when you really get the groove of it, because like odd thing, I joined my track team because one of my biggest thing I hated to do was running. So I wanted to challenge myself and I wanted to do a sport that I know that I would hate, that I would know to love. And now I actually miss it. Like it was like a time for like when I was like frustrated and everything.
That's
Gets you nice
good.
and plump. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know what the difference is because on the treadmill, I'm a rock star. I love it. It's relaxing. It eases my mind. But when it comes to being out on the pavement, I have an attitude.
Yeah, see, I don't want to run no time. Treadmill in the street. I don't
is there
want
a
to
lot
run.
of inclines?
There are subtle inclines, but I wonder if I'd be the same if it was level. I don't know. I just know I get mad.
That could be it because when it comes to hills, it gets tricky, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you have like you have this thing. It's about the stamina because going up a hill is different than like going on like a flat.
Yeah. And it's so subtle, I can't tell, but there probably are, you know. That'll be I'm going to do that. I'm going to make myself run.
Get your favorite tunes going and like have a nice playlist so you just don't.
Yeah. That helps.
Just get in the zone. Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm so good on the treadmill because I have a TV or something in front of me that I'm just focusing on that, you know, but I can't be down on the streets. But
well, run to a podcast.
yeah, no, it's a visual. You know what I mean? It's like me seeing the people. But I'm going to try that, though, because who knows? It might work for me.
Yeah. We're coming back into top of the hour. And show.
Let the world be your screen. Run outside.
I could do that. I could do that. I can listen to Live Exchange. You guys, the Live Exchange, our podcast. We got a podcast.
We're
y'all. back. We're back on the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela.
Yes. I'm Robert Pierce.
And I was just saying, y'all, we have a podcast. So, definitely check us out. Yeah. Go to our website. You'll find everything there. TheLiveExchangeRadio.com. Yes, TheLiveExchangeRadio.com. And you'll see everything you need to see, old shows and all that there. So we were looking at some of the different conspiracies that were out there. And the first one that I read was really about claiming that the virus is a bioweapon or something that was created by one group of people to, either regulate the population or target another political party or so forth. So if that was their intent, it really went crazy.
Yeah.
It went beyond who they intended to target.
Right. Yeah, that conspiracy theory has been debunked.
Yes.
Yes.
So number two.
Number two of what? Let me stop. Number two of conspiracy theories that are not true. They're conspiracy theories. We're not
unfounded.
Go.
Yes. Okay. Rumors of secret cures. All these things that people are passing around, but if you do this, you sniff that, and if you, the one is drinking bleach is one of them. Do not drink bleach.
Don't drink no bleach. It's toxic. Come on, y'all.
And I shouldn't laugh because I'm sure people have.
Yeah, someone has tried it. Do not drink bleach.
So yes. So rumors of secret cures, which include diluted bleach, turning off your electronics. You know what that one's connected to, right?
5G, right?
The 5G. Bananas is a cure. Promise of hope, so the person who's giving you all these cures, the idea is to promise hope from the, a hope of protection from the threat of this virus that not even the world leaders can provide.
Yeah.
I got the cure. If you eat 12 bananas a day, you're going to survive.
Yeah. Not good. Now, let's say this now, because there are dietary things that we can do to boost our immune system.
Always.
But there's no secret elixir out here, no secret concoction. A good diet, a good, healthy, balanced diet will help protect you, but doesn't guarantee that you won't contract it, but it help boost your immune system.
So that's something you want to do anyway. You want to have a healthy diet. If 12 bananas a day is your thing, that's great, but it's not the cure to the coronavirus. Okay? Right. And don't drink.
Don't drink bleach.
All right. So debunked, right?
Debunked. The next conspiracy theory that is not true that we're going to debunk, but we're going to bring it up now is
Instagram posts. Okay, now I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just saying because a lot of Black people believe this, and so I don't want to be hated by the Black community by saying. Okay, Bill Gates. So there's Instagram posts that are falsely suggesting that the coronavirus was planned by Bill Gates on behalf of pharmaceutical companies. And this is because Bill Gates has worked very closely with pharmaceutical companies to develop, vaccines. He's funded these things. And some of these vaccines have, backfired, as many do in any kind of clinical trial.
In any trial. Mm-hmm.
But what they're saying is he did this on purpose. He orchestrated this, and he's created all of these, deaths. And so he's a part of this whole coronavirus thing. So anything he proposes, any cures that he tries to fund, we need to not trust that, because he kills people.
Oh, and so, okay.
That's unfounded.
Unfounded. And so negates the millions or billions of dollars he's been given to help humanity become better. And so he did all that just to trick us and to bait and switch us to kill us off. Yep. That's what I'm hearing.
That's the theory.
Okay.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, the same people are saying that using a Microsoft computer.
Right. And maybe that computer has vibrations coming out of it. I don't know. But yeah, why would he just use computers to kill everybody then?
Right. Yeah. He's been doing this for years, and all of a sudden now he's been setting out, okay.
Yeah. So that's a big one.
Yeah.
Because I've been seeing some people that I know posting that, and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna just keep scrolling.
So another one be Jeff Bezos. Amazon did this so that we can all run to Amazon to get more traffic to his site.
That's a good one. Well, it worked, because I'm on there every day.
Right. So because I know Amazon, they come to my door every day.
Every day. It worked. You know what?
Conspiracy
but I
theory.
doubt that he did that.
So what's the next conspiracy theory?
Okay, the next one. In Alabama, Facebook post falsely claimed that shadowy powers had ordered sick patients to be secretly helicoptered into their state. I'm just saying.
I got nothing. I'm sorry.
Look, they helicoptered them in there because Alabama didn't have any cases for a long time, so we had to make sure Alabama got some cases.
So we flew them.
Yeah.
Somebody flew them in there. Okay.
Yep. That's okay. Conspiracy theory.
Next conspiracy theory. That one gets no traction. Let's go. What's the next one?
In Latin America, equally baseless rumors have proliferated that the virus was engineered to spread HIV. And in Iran, pro-government voices portray the disease as a Western plot. So somehow we have proliferated the virus to spread HIV.
Wow.
Yeah. And in Iran, pro-government voices portray the disease as a Western plot.
Okay.
So
stick a fork in me. I'm done.
There's more.
I'm sure. But I'm just letting you know I'm done. Go. Keep going.
I'm saving the best for last.
Okay.
So Italian media buzzed over a video posted by an Italian man from Tokyo in which he had claimed that the coronavirus was treatable, but that Italian officials were hiding the truth.
Oh.
So we know how to fix this, but we're not going to tell you.
And so we're just not going to do it. And
we're going to let all our people die.
We're going to let people die.
Let all these dead bodies that have been piling up in Italy, which is horrible.
Yeah. And just destroy our economy, destroy our way of living, just for what's the end game? What's the end result for doing that?
So they can rule the world.
Oh.
Because why would
like Pinky in the Brain? You remember that cartoon?
Yes, exactly.
I'm gonna rule the world.
I'm gonna rule the world. And so that's what Italy was trying to do.
Yeah.
Apparently. Okay, you guys, if you're just tuning in, that is a conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory, totally unfounded, and we're debunking them. None of this is real. It's true. Two more. Let's go.
So on other videos popular on YouTube, there's a claim that the entire pandemic, now this is good, is a fiction staged to control the population. This is all a movie we're watching. This is not actually happening.
But real people are dying.
It's fiction.
So
because people are saying you can't see the bodies. after they pass, so how
they're
do we
being held in a
know?
concentration camp somewhere, and
Yeah.
they're gonna be what, released later on? Come on.
Sent to the
Okay.
moon? I don't know.
Okay. That's
Yes.
stupid. I've never used that
How do you
word.
really feel?
Yeah, but that one is stupid.
It's fiction. Okay.
Okay, last one. We're almost
One
done,
more.
so we got to go. What's the
This
last
is
one?
the best one. Still others say that the disease is real because it isn't a virus. It's 5G cellular networks.
Okay.
One YouTube video pushing this falsehood and implying that social distancing measures could be ignored because it's not a virus has received 1.9 million views. And in Britain, there has been a rash of attacks on cellular towers.
Okay.
They
like I
have
said,
gone to war. Go
over
ahead.
this. Yeah, they're going to
They're
war with the
attacking
cellular
towers.
industry, the towers, and now they're going to be fussing when you don't have no service to do anything.
But you know what I said before the show? They've gone awfully quiet. So I wonder, have they logged out?
Right.
Have they gone into their
Off the grid.
bunkers?
Yeah, off the grid.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So those are the rumors. Have I crossed over into break time, or should I just keep on? Okay.
No, we're
But
almost
those were
done.
the-
It's almost, unfortunately, it's almost time.
No
for us to
way!
go. Yeah.
Are you kidding? I did say that this was going to take the whole rest of the show,
You did,
didn't I?
and you did not lie. We tell the truth here.
But I feel like we need to let y'all know, like, this is
Yeah.
you
This
didn't
stuff-
just come upon some brilliant information.
This
So-
stuff is real. It's happening, and we have to take it serious. We have to wake up, and we
Wake
have to do
up.
what we need to do so that we can all get on the other side of this
You
healthy.
can't explain this away.
No, let's not worry about
It's
that.
here.
Yeah,
No.
we'll read the books, write the books on all this stuff later on. Let's get on the
Right.
other side of this first.
Right.
There's movies
Well-
coming out, all that stuff. We're gonna get all that. I promise
Yeah,
you.
and write the movies. Now
Yeah.
that's what you could do. The conspiracy
Yeah.
theories. Write movies. Like your theories will all make phenomenal movies.
Yeah.
Like do that. And so yeah, so there's just a lot of people believe these things because it's comforting and because they
Mhm.
can have a level of control over it. But as
Control.
Robert said, we got to focus on what's real. We cannot let ourselves get distracted and lose our lives because we've decided it's not real. I'm just not going to
Right.
deal with it.
There's
Wake
too
up,
many other
guys.
real issues that we're dealing with in this, and let alone the fact that all the other issues that we dealt prior to this is still here.
You're right.
Society
Depression,
wasn't good.
oppression, racism.
Right. Society, we wasn't in a good place before this, and all those
Right.
ills are still here, and people
Yes.
are dealing with all that stuff too. We seem to have forgotten. People are still getting murdered. People,
Yes.
there's so much other stuff going on. Children
Right.
are still being abducted, believe it or not.
Right. And abused. So, okay. Well, I guess we are done for today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stay with us or join us next week. We'll be, continuing the conversation and, yeah. So
We'll be
just-
back next week and tackling it. Let's hope we can see everyone next week. Y'all, please thank everyone for joining us. But get to next week, y'all.
Get to next
Stay
week.
home. Let's
yes,
get to next
and
week.
keep the conversation going because when we dialogue better,
We do better.
We do
we
better.
do better. All right. Peace out.
Good job.
Nice job. Muy bien, muy bien.
Mucho.
Mucho. Did you see my text about I got the dog? I didn't get the dog, but I
I